Right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Runs podcast. We are diving straight in today. Lily, we owe you a good episode after my nightmare with the Wi-Fi last time. So welcome back.
Hopefully mine doesn't let us down.
No, you haven't ripped any of the Wi-Fi wires out, ripping the kitchen out.
I've not been anywhere near the Wi-Fi wires this time.
So it won't be your fault.
It's not my fault. No.
Good. How's it going? Everything all right?
Yeah, good. It was only obviously 2 weeks ago. So I was sort of, everyone's like, what are you doing after the marathon? I was like, ripping the downstairs of our house out and trying to get on top of like all the work jobs that I should have been doing the last 3 months, but wasn't. So yeah, that's been my post-marathon fun.
That's a good come down, start ripping an house apart.
Yeah, it brings you back down to earth, that's for sure. It's a bit different to New York.
Yeah, just a bit.
When we had you on last, we were waiting on like possibly the Olympics call, and it never came, obviously.
Yeah.
And then New York came about then fast, or how does that come about?
Yeah, so it was always kind of like, if I didn't go to the Olympics, I wanted to do New York. So it was kind of one of those things. It was like, oh, actually, we'll stick to plan A. Like plan A was kind of, the Olympics was like, you were kind of just waiting to see whether like you got selected. Like once I'd run the qualifying time, it was then, I still didn't even then think that I was like, because obviously I wasn't like next in line. And then I ran really well Trafford 10K. So then I thought, well, maybe I could run myself onto the team. But it was always kind of like, obviously I wanted to go to the Olympics, but running New York was always kind of like the original plan.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, yeah, just revert back to plan A when the Olympics didn't happen. So it was kind of like a long time. I've wanted to run New York for years, but it was kind of waiting for the right time. And I wanted to run faster before I ran New York, because obviously you lose a bit of time on New York. So
yeah, I suppose like with the Olympics, it was out of your hands. You could obviously sort of prepare, but you didn't know 100%. So yeah, it was good to have that.
Yeah, like unless you're way out and above everybody else, like it's the way the selection policy is written, it's kind of like yeah, if your face fits, you go. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like there's only so much you can plan for.
Yeah, so you just jumped straight into, you carried on straight, and you knew you were going to New York. Nikki reckons it's the hardest out of the majors.
Yeah, I mean, I've only actually ran London. I ran like 18 miles of Berlin. But yeah, it's definitely, I'd say it's like as technical, as like the most technical, if a marathon can be considered technical. But like, yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It's like you've got to specifically prepare for, not only have you got to prepare for a marathon, it's like you've also got to be able to cope, like have some resistance with the hills and stuff like that, and the bridges, and it's just a different race. But yeah, so it was nice to have a different, like the plan in training was to like try and get into like PB shape, knowing that might not, like that might not appear on race day, like that's not the option, but it's like to be in that shape so that like the impact of the course is less.
But yeah, so you've got an equivalent, so you're in that shape, but then obviously you've got to factor in that course on that day, isn't it?
Yeah. So it was kind of like that was the plan in training, and then obviously like we moved to the Peak District in May, so I couldn't really I couldn't say I hadn't prepared on the hills, because I had done loads on the hills, but I think it's just that the marathon is brutal in the last 3 miles anyway, never mind when you're going up Fifth Ave.
Yeah, it's horrible that, and then we get on to that, but that is, it's probably different for you, because like, I remember coming out of it's not the Bronx, is it the Bronx? Yeah. You can see all the way up there, and I obviously had thousands of people ahead of me, and I could just see how far up ahead, height-wise they were, and it was just so demoralising. Obviously different field in a lead pack, but still.
I don't know, you can just see the road, like, and you can't see the top.
You can't. Where's the end?
And and it's constant, and it was kind of like, I'd say like I was somewhat all right until I hit that. I'd say that kind of put the nail in the coffin a little bit up that Fifth Ave. And I think it's one of those, it's so long. I wouldn't say it's like massively steep, but it's so long that it like completely blows your legs apart. And then I just never recovered coming off the top of it. Because it's not like you come off the top and then it's flat. It's like you come off the top and then you've got the rolls of Central Park.
Yeah, horrible. And it doesn't help when they start putting a surge in at like 5 and 5:10, does it?
Yeah, there was no way. I'd covered the like 5:17, 5:18, and I did a 5:12, and then I was like, okay, my legs are going here. I could feel myself starting to rock and roll over the last bridge.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm working now, but it was kind of like I seemed to get over that and kind of recover a little bit, and I went with the next surge. And then it was just, it was like, okay, no, I was rocking and rolling more than I thought.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great race. I absolutely loved it. I loved the last 3 miles slightly less than the rest of it, but
even though you're
that's what he said this week, wasn't
it? Central Park is just
He said he was hoping to have something left in his legs, but you're just spent by Central Park and.
Oh yeah, like my plan was like I wanted to still have my legs underneath me when I hit Central Park. But to be honest, like I was running like it's a little bit cringe when people say like run with your heart and not your head and stuff like that. I was like, there was probably, if I could go back and run that exact race again, like hindsight's fantastic.
Yeah.
But if I could, I would. There's a moment in there where I probably shouldn't have gone with that second move. Because I think it would have given me something in the tank, but it was kind of one of those things like I felt really good, so it's like I was never not covering that move. Like I kind of went with like my kind of gut instinct, went with my heart, and I was like, I'm just gonna have to hold the consequences if this blows in my face.
Yeah, but that you was in the race, so that I can imagine that must be just like, well, I'm in the race here, I'm right at the front, like it's like
and I didn't feel bad. It was like I almost went from feeling like great to terrible, like really, really quickly. It was when that second move went in that I didn't cover, it was kind of then like I held on for about another 2 miles and then I hit Fifth Ave, and I think that was just kind of it at that point. But I would say I went from running like we ran like a 5:17, I think it was, and then I ran like a 5:35, and then it was like 5:39, and then it was literally I went like 6 minutes. So it was kind of like very much like okay, not okay.
Yeah. But I thought that was probably worth, you say now with hindsight, but at the time it probably was worth the risk to such. It's a fine line, isn't it, like you said? But all right, you ended up finishing 15th and a couple come past you that probably saved a bit, but at that point you was probably still, well, you was still in the top 10. I remember watching, it's like you still got a chance.
So I think it was just like, I mean, hindsight's fantastic. And if I could run that, like if I went back next time, like I kind of spoke to Ben, I spoke to my coach and that, and I was like, I honestly couldn't really promise you that I wouldn't run the exact same race, like, because I had no, like, I wasn't suffering at all until I was like, it sounds stupid, like, but then I was like, I could run that exact same race next year, and that puts me in top 10, puts me in top 5.
Definitely.
It's one of those courses. I think it's like the girl that's Sarah, the top American girl, like she held on, and it might be the strength that she has around 2:23 and I run 2:25, so maybe that 2 minutes of strength like
got her through,
helped her a little bit. But then I was like, there was girls that have run faster than that who were behind. So it's one of those things, like you could run exactly the same race again and hold on. But yeah, if I could run that race again, maybe if I hadn't gone that second surge, I might have. I don't think I would have necessarily like moved through necessarily, but I might have maintained. Like I lost 3 minutes in the last 3 miles, so I might have just not lost that 3 minutes.
Yeah, I suppose that is a big loss in our last 5K or whatever it was.
But I think also it's one of those, like, it probably looks really bad on like a New York because it's like it's so like battering that last 3 miles.
The whole second half I thought was so tough. From when you go over that bridge at halfway, it's like the next one I was gone, and the next one, the Queensborough, that just finished me 15 to 16. I was gone from
15, 16. Well, I think also like I kind of learned a lesson from, I feel like with my marathoning, like obviously I came into the marathon like a couple of years ago and then I took a couple of years out, so I feel like I'm like, this is like a second kind of go at it. and I feel like I kind of got some things wrong with fueling, which I think compounded then the issues I had with so I missed my bottle at 25 and I took a gel, so that was fine, but then I missed the bottle at 35,
right,
and I had no backup.
Okay.
So I think at that point I don't know how much of a difference it would have made. Like, it might not have made any difference, but having a little bit of fuel might have helped.
Yeah.
Help me maintain a little bit better.
Fair way to go in if you've missed one at 35.
Yeah, like 7 kilometers to go. It's like, it was probably a little bit far out to go with no fuel.
Yeah, I know we're on completely different scales, but that happened to me in Newport half. I lost my last gel, and it's psychological as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, you go past it and you're like, I think in the end, initially you're like, you try and rationalize it. You're like, right, it's fine, it's okay, it's fine. But then you're sort of like, then you start struggling, and then you start thinking, that's because I lost.
Yeah.
Like, it might not have been, but you start thinking like, oh, it's because I've lost, like, I didn't get that fuel. So I think if I could run the race again, I'd have had 2 gels down my top.
Yeah.
That I could have pulled out a second one, but I didn't. So
learn. So while we're on fueling a minute, then what is your fueling for the race? What do you take on per hour, or every so many miles or minutes? How do you?
So every 5K.
Yeah.
So normally in a marathon you have 8 bottles, but New York you only have 7 because there isn't one at 40K.
Okay.
So that 35, it was like nearer 36K, was my last opportunity to get a fuel, unless I wanted to take something off the side, but it's just risky. Like, I've never had Gatorade before when I'm hurting, so it's kind of like I didn't need stomach problems as on top of everything else going in that last bit. So I think it was I only had 7 bottles, so I only got 6 of them. So yeah, every 5K typically. And I actually took a gel before I started, which actually, again, in hindsight, I wish I'd not taken that at the start and taken it, still had it on me at 35. But yeah, I tend to just take the bottles, and then if I miss a bottle, I've got a gel. But I think I'm going to experiment a little bit. I'm going to get some testing done, just to try and get volume, like specific quantities. Because there's lots of like research going around, but trying to run like 5 to 5:30 miling is very different to running along in a lab.
Yeah, for that long as well.
Or sitting on well, lots of people were like telling me about like cyclists and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, but they're sat on a bike.
Yeah, they can have a picnic if they want, and they're back.
Yeah, I was like, they're not like jubbling about.
Yeah, they're not running very fast for very long.
Yeah, so I was like, this is different. It's different. So I just need to practice again and get some testing done, so I know exactly what my needs are.
Yeah. While we're on fueling as well, you're both big advocates of beetroot juice, right?
I have tried it. I tried it when it was like fashionable, like the first time, to kind of mixed results. I couldn't actually say whether it actually boosted in performance. I couldn't really I didn't see that big a move where I was like, oh, that's definitely working. But I was also like, I don't know if it didn't. But yeah, I did try some. I went to Wagamama's the day before in New York, and they have those like fruit drinks or whatever they're called, like little smoothies. So I got the beetroot one. I was like, it can't hurt, can it?
Same as me, I've just heard about it. It can boost your oxygen and things. So like the week before, I just start drinking it. I was thinking, I quite like the taste of it. It's sweet because it is.
Yeah, I don't dislike the taste. It's
but I'm alright with it. So it can't hurt, can it? That's the way I see it.
No.
Yeah, it can't hurt unless you take too much. Then it does hurt. I think there's been a couple of stories of people having some issues. Like before races.
I'll have to watch that then.
Yeah,
I'll pick that up and use the right emoji for that. But we want to know, what's the experience like on the race day for you as an elite runner there compared to, because Nick, you said the worst thing about New York is the kind of busting around to get to the start line and everything previously, right?
For me, obviously, it was like, I had like I think it was a 5:15 a.m. bus from Midtown. And like, I think I was a 9 o'clock start. I can't remember exactly. So, yeah, it was like a bus out. We had a bus out, and then I was literally dumped in the school field for like, I think I was there like 2 hours before I was even allowed into then the like holding zone, and I was the first wave. So it was freezing cold, dark. Obviously, I seen you obviously had buses over as well, but obviously, I guess you have sort of a different. Do you go as early as that, or because you're
not quite as early? So so I'd say we probably had we left at like 5:45. And had a police escort.
Yeah.
Bus, but I say the same route, down to the start. Yeah, and then they take us to. We actually drive past the start, and they take us to an indoor running track.
Okay.
I think it must be a high school track. And then we get. You okay?
Sausage.
Ben, your episode will come. Don't worry about it.
He's trying to sort dinner out, and he was just asking me what I want. I was like, okay. Give my food order over on a podcast. So 5:45 from Midtown, and then get bus to a high school warm indoor track. And then we warm up on that indoor track, and then there's a 5-10 minute bus journey then to the start, which is where by the bridge.
Yeah. It's
but we get bus there about, what was our start? 8:30. So I think we got there about 8:10. We're only there 20 minutes or so.
Not too much. So do you, with that morning, and do you eat before you travel out, or when you're there?
Say that again, sorry.
Do you eat, so with that earlier start, did you have to eat at your hotel or wherever you was before you travel out, or do you eat when you're there?
So again, it was kind of, I'd say it's probably the same as you guys. It's probably the most busy start, complicated start process. Even so for London, you're not too far from the start. You sort of just get bus to there. It's 20 minute maybe. Whereas this is it took us is about an hour.
It is for an hour.
Bus down to So I'd say from that it kind of took the most planning that I've ever had for any race, I think. So we had we had breakfast about I tried to go down really late because I was like, well, if I eat at 5:30, I'm still 3 hours before I'm starting. So I went down about 10 minutes before I wanted to get on the bus, and I got a coffee and a tea, and I took a flask down with me of coffee, had my cup of tea, had some breakfast, I had some porridge, and then I took food with me to then have on the bus and nearer the start, because I can eat quite close. So I was like, I want to eat at 7:30-ish. So I took stuff down with me to top up my breakfast.
Yeah, that is the hardest part I find for that. Boston's very similar. It's hours before, it's a long time. You have got to plan your breakfast. Same. The only good thing with New York where we were, they did have a free coffee and bagel area, so you could walk up as many times as you want. But obviously,
they did have that at the elite section. Well. There was there was bits that you could pick up if you wanted. But I didn't know that was there, so I'd already bought my own. But yeah.
Do you know you speak about your bottles, obviously, and they are your bottles with your mix in there and everything, right? Yeah. Is that your responsibility the day before the race as well then, or is that all taken care of for you, or how does all that side of it work as well?
Yeah, so we have there's 2 meetings the day before. The first one's not really a meeting, so you have to submit your bottles the day before. They'll tell you when to bring your bottles down the day before. So I just prep them in my room, and then they come down and you get a label for each bottle with your start number, and you have to write your start number on it, and is this my 5k bottle, my 10k bottle? Yeah. So each bottle has the number and where it's meant to be, and then they actually send it out the week before for New York, but some marathons will just do it the day before. They tell you where your bottle is on the table.
Okay.
So my bottle was always the 9th table, second bottle.
Okay.
So it's the same throughout the whole race. So I went to table 9, position 2. That was my bottle. So you submit them the day before, and then they just magic appear on that table when I get there.
Nice, and enough fighting over a water station with tripping over cups.
Yeah. No, we're just tripping over each other to try and get that bottle.
Chaos. It looks hard work, in fairness. Yeah, all weaving.
Especially in New York when everyone's the group's all together. Yeah. Because normally, even in Valencia, where it's absolutely manic. They kind of, because the elite women are on one side, the elite men are on the other, the kind of anyone who doesn't have elite bottles in Valencia just keeps running down the middle, and the elites kind of funnel themselves to the sides. Whereas in New York, it's only an elite start and the race stays together for longer. So it's like, actually, it was still chaos right through to, I'd say, pretty much the 30K station. It was like everyone was still there. So it's like everyone's
going at the same time,
yeah, everyone starts jostling just before it to try and make sure they're like in position.
A good spot.
Yeah. So that's an experience. But yeah, you just kind of, I suppose you have to have trust that everyone's going to
not
sensibly get their bottle.
Yeah, no one's going to rock up with e-bikes or anything. But
I saw that. I saw that. That's mad.
I know. There's a line in it.
Yeah, there's enough cameras. There's enough people. There's enough. You can run with, especially in the masses. You can run with your phone.
With your phone anyway, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, nobody needs to see a repeat of the same video for 26 months.
No.
I need to ask about your sunglasses, Lil, as well. Are they running glasses or are they not running glasses? Because they look like they look like just designer normal sunglasses for the weekend.
Yeah, they're just like normal sunglasses, but they've got my prescription in.
Okay.
So I can see where I'm going. So yeah, they're just normal sunglasses, but they don't move. They're quite good. They don't move. But yeah, they're not like sport specific, run specific. They're just so I can see where I'm going.
Okay. Oh, with the new Pumas?
Yeah, they're good. They're good. I chopped and changed in my build up a little bit because I ran Valencia in the Fast Stars. And I was convinced that's what I was wearing. I even got Puma to send me like like my New York version, the white ones. I think I might have sent them to you guys at some point.
Yeah, I think you sent them to me. Yeah,
the white ones. And then I was kind of training a lot in the Deviates, and everybody was telling me like, oh, you should wear them for the marathon. They're fantastic. And there was some study come out, I think, that they're like so much better than they improve your economy. Quite a bit. So I was a bit like, I wanted to wear them, but I was like, I haven't like done any like long runs in them. I've always done my long runs in the Fast R's, or like the training Deviates. So when I went out to Spain, I was like, I'm going to try them. And then, yeah, I was like, poor Puma. I was like, actually, can I have a pair of these Deviates for the race day?
A pair of them now.
But I think they were like, blimmin' out, we've already sent you race shoes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I switched to the Deviates, which I did love them, to be fair.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then you met our friend Alex Hermison, who runs at the finish line as well.
Oh yeah. Afterwards, I went down to so obviously after everything finishes, you go back to the hotel, kind of relax, recover for a couple of hours.
Do you have to hang around then, or are you just the same as everyone else? Get your medal, bit of velos, and then you can just shoot off? Or have you got
so we go back to, there's like an elite athlete like area that you can gather like your agents there, your bags there, everything's taken back there for you. And then you then get so I actually ended up walking back with Callum and that, because you could wait for the bus, but it was kind of like good luck trying to get a bus through Manhattan on marathon. So we were like, actually walking sounds awful, but it will help recovery and stuff like that. Yeah. So we wandered back to the hotel, which was only maybe a mile, less than a mile. And then went out for dinner. There's like an organized dinner, like food place. And then I came back to the finish for last finisher, which is where I saw.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. There's a lot of people seem to do it, don't they? Like the night all the later runners come in and finish, sort of a thing. Isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was such a like event. They was like, oh, we're gonna go do last finisher. So I said to the organisers, like, oh, can I come down? Thinking, oh, I don't want to be like in the way or anything. They're like, yeah, no, there's loads of people down there. And I went down there, and it's like, I'd rather finish now. It's like a like party, like festival situation. I was like, yeah, there was like glow sticks and everything. So that was really fun.
That's what I get to experience.
Yeah. What did you think of the actual whole route and the crowd support during it when you was running? Could you take that in because you were so zoned in, or could you?
Yeah, it was actually weird. Like I don't know if you experienced, like it's actually eerie when you go over the bridges and it all goes silent.
Unreal eerie. You can just hear everyone's footsteps. It just goes from mental noise to like. It's like you can hear yourself.
It's completely silent. Yeah.
The bridges are just runners, are they?
Yeah, the bridges.
Yeah, it's just the runners are on the course.
Spectators, it's just the runners.
So you can hear everything at that point. You can hear everyone's breathing. You can hear everyone's feet. You can hear I think that's when everybody's nerves would start to jangle. It was we're all then start not jostling each other, but it's you end up clipping a little bit, and you sort of everybody gets a bit tight, and because it's so exposed, because there's no crowds to buffer any wind or anything. Everyone starts trying to tuck in. And I'd say that was the most nerve-wracking bits was when it all went silent, because you're then oh crap, I'm running New York Marathon, I'm in the race, I'm racing. Whereas when the noise is there, you're it's you sort of, there's a distraction. But yeah, the noise is unbelievable. They always say when you hit embankment in London, but it's like that the whole way. Yeah, it is mad.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt, because people ask me, what's your favourite blah, and I said, well, the noise in New York was insane. It's when you come off Queensborough round onto First, and it's just insane. For most of it, Brooklyn was mad. All of it is. Those bridges it is really weird.
Yeah, when it all just goes completely silent, and you're you become really aware of where you are.
You can just hear the shoes dumping everyone. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, that is it's mad. I was just trying to focus on so we had the lead vehicle, and a girl I know, Bex Gentry, she's a Peloton instructor based in New York. She was doing she had the microphone on the back of the lead vehicle doing a broadcast. I can't remember who it was for. And obviously she's British.
Okay.
So I was I kind of was I think that's Bex Gentry. And I was I wanted to wave to her, but I was no, that's unprofessional, because you might be on the TV.
I'm at the front of the New York Marathon.
But I was so I'm just running along looking at Bex. Yeah.
Love it. Brilliant.
But yeah, it's mad.
It was, and again, on the thought, what's your thought process when you're at the front of that race with no offense, Helen Obiri and these other like you say, you put it yourself, you stuck your nose where you thought it shouldn't be, but fair play to you. You raced it, and I thought you raced it really well. Obviously, you say you might have changed a couple of things, but how was that? And how did that feel? Did you at any point think, I got a chance here, I'm sticking with them? Or was it this is obviously they're going to go away? Or does that even...
I mean, I thought I was fit enough. I knew I was fit enough to had the race, with the race being run how it's been run the last couple of years, I was I'm fit enough to hang tight for a long, long way. I knew that, but I was also I'm not a 217, 218 girl yet, hopefully. But I'm not that athlete yet. And so I have very little control about how this race is going to be run. If they decide to go at 15, I'm going to have to make a decision. Or if they go at 10, if you get somebody that goes out and they're going to try and run 2:15 on that course, I have to make a decision. I cannot run that. So it was kind of I was hoping that it was going to be run, I suppose, as it was run. And that's how it's normally run. So I was a bit it would be someone doing something different if it wasn't.
Due to the technicality of the course and the bridges and the hills, and everyone knows what's coming. Is that why it's all...
And there's no pacemaker.
No paces either. Yeah.
So there's no pacemaker. So it would consist of somebody sticking their neck out, and basically trying to run hard and hope that their legs stay attached to them coming through Central Park. So I think it's one of those things the course doesn't encourage somebody to just go out and batter it. Yeah. But yeah, I certainly wasn't about to be that person either.
You looked in at some point. It was oh, she's glad. She's got it looking like she's...
Yeah, well, it was weird. So Alan had always said, Alan always says to me, he's run the tangents. Obviously, it's easier in an elite field at the marathon. But obviously, in the masses, people tend to run way further, because you just have to follow what's going on. Yeah, but even on the elite stage, especially if the water bottles aren't on the right side of the road, you could find yourself dragged to one side, and then the next corner's over there. So so Alan always says to me, he's just try and run the tangents as follow the blue line basically as much as you can. So it was I was really aware of that at one point, and I could see the corner coming up. So I just stayed on the tangent side, and everyone else seemed to move over. And obviously I have not actually watched it back, but I saw a clip, and Alan was it kind of made him laugh, because I went around the corner, it put me in front.
Yeah.
because like everyone else then came across and it put me on the front. And I did think at that point, I was like, oh my God, they're going to all be wetting themselves. Like I'm on the front of New York Marathon. They're all going to be like, what is she doing? Like my dad always says to me, he's like, why are you on the front?
You led the New York Marathon for a section.
Yeah, so I was like, God, they'll all be nervous if we're on camera now, they'll all be getting nervous because I'm on the front. But yeah, I mean, it's just cool. Like that's all I thought. I was like, I feel good, I feel relaxed. We're not running like it's not like I'm on the front running like way up and above like what the planned pace would be. I was like, it's not like I'm just gone to the front and just started running 5-minute miling just so I could say I was on the front. I was like, this is the race. So yeah, it's just cool. You're just like, it's not many marathons nowadays, unless you're like a 2:15 girl, that you get anywhere near the front for any respective amount of time. So yeah, I think that's the cool thing with like a race like New York is actually you have a shot if you get it right. It's more tactical, more technical than just a straight like. If you can't run 2:15, you're going to be gone.
Yeah, so sort of like Chicago, it's like flat, fast. Goes out.
Unless you can run 2:09 now, but unless you can run like 2:10, 2:11, 2:12, you're not involved at the front of that.
I think Boston's similar as well, isn't it? That seems to be more tactical and a bit of a slower race, if you like. So
yeah, which I think keeps it interesting. I feel like there should be more of those races.
For watching, for me personally, it makes it much. Although it's great seeing someone run 2:09 in Chicago, which was just I'd never thought that would ever happen. It makes it a much more interesting race. Seeing like there was 10 of you, I think, still together with like 6 miles to go. It was like no idea who was going to win this. Obviously, I had in my head, Eleanor Beattie will probably maybe pull away, but it was still like this anyone still.
Yeah, and I think that I think it's a better program, it's a better show, it's a better race. So I do wish like more races were like that, where it was more of like a straight shoot, rather than sort of like an exhibition show. Which I think there's a time and a place for all of this. We seem to have way more like everyone just wants to run really fast, which is great, but that's when people go, oh, well, marathon running's boring. It's like, well, it can be pretty boring if that's not your thing.
I got you.
But also, for like if you want a deeper field, putting those races on that are races will build your field. If it's a straight shoot, people are like, well, if I'm not in shape, I'm not doing it.
Anyway, there's no point.
So all in all, happy, Lil?
Yeah, no, I am. Yeah, I'm happy. There's everything. Like I say, like in hindsight, there's lots of things I'd go back and change, but a lot of them are also like, well, if I did New York again next year, I can't promise that I wouldn't run the same. The same way. It's one of those things like
still amongst it then.
Yeah, I think if I did it next time, I just have the experience of like I know how hard those last 3 miles are, and like maybe be more conscious of decision making when the move starts going. But yeah, it's one of those things. I can't promise that I wouldn't do exactly the same. Hopefully I don't 6:30 miles.
Because I've seen on your Strava a couple of days before you was doing like the last couple of Ks, but obviously you can't replicate that after you've done 23 miles before. You can't, can you? So
no, and it's just that long drag up fifth, just put the nail in the coffin. And like I could do it again in 12 months time and be 12 months stronger and cope with it.
And like I say, you know exactly what it's going to be like now.
And I was happy at the end because I was like, okay, the last 3 miles was absolutely brutal and horrible, but I was like, I executed the race I wanted to execute up to that point. And I just need to get better. That's what it comes down to. I just need to get better. I need to get better at executing, maybe have a slightly different fueling strategy, just make sure I've got a backup. But I was like, I just need to be better in general. Like if I can get nearer that 2:20 mark, then all of a sudden those faster miles do less damage. So I'm happy enough. Like I wouldn't change it. No. I'd change the last 3 miles, but
we all change the last 3 miles. Everyone. Probably a bit further than that for us normal.
But I was fighting for my life going up Fifth Ave.
Now we're ripping the kitchen out, but have you thought about next year yet? Any plans in place for next year, or?
I've kind of got lots penciled in, but I've only really done I've not really done too much running since the race. It kind of bashed me up a little bit. I think it always does when you blow up. But I think also just the nature of that last bit. My like back and hips were really, really sore and tight. Touch wood, like nothing horrible, but it was just a case of like, I need to get physio. I need to do some stretching and stuff like that before I start just running. So it's taken me a little bit longer than it did for Valencia to kind of get back into sort of some kind of rhythm. And I'd say today was the first time I didn't feel absolutely awful the entire run. So I'm just allowing my body to kind of reset itself with that. I've got races penciled in, and hopefully, my agent's putting me in a couple of races. I'd like to focus on the half marathon. I feel like I've got a lot of unfinished. I feel like my half marathon's like rubbish compared to where my marathon and my 10K is right now. So I'd like to correct that. That would be my goal.
Yeah.
And maybe a spring marathon, but we'll see.
Yeah. Back down Porthcawl to take your title back.
I know it wasn't on this year.
Yeah, it was.
Porthcawl was on?
Porthcawl was.
Which was one? But okay, Barry Island was off.
Yeah.
Okay, Barry was off. It'd be good to come down. It'd be good. But yeah, I didn't do it. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't do it this year.
I think you had other stuff going on. There was something a week before. I remember in the last episode when you were on last, there was something around it as well, I think.
Oh yeah, I did. I did New York 10K and Boston 10K, so it might have been around those.
I can't believe you chose them over Porthcawl.
Not bad 10Ks compared to Porthcawl.
I enjoyed Porthcawl before. Porthcawl was good, yeah. I'd say Barry's the tough one because you go up onto that front.
Barry ended my first running career. Barry did.
Yeah, I did enjoy it though because you get that little like finish on the seafront where all the funfair and everything is.
Yeah, you've got.
It's quite fun.
Yeah, are you a Gavin and Stacey fan as well? So was I.
Yeah, I love Gavin and Stacey. I wanted to when I did it the other year. I wanted to go and check out the
house,
like all the house and stuff like that. But have you ever tried getting off Barry Island after the 10K?
Yeah.
It was.
I
was like, I'm not taking our diversion.
The house is so weird. I worked in Barry for about a year, and it's just a street, but it's plastered with photos in the windows and everything. I don't even know if someone might still live in there and just haven't got any light coming into their house ever.
Yeah, they do. Someone does live there. The person lives there.
I think I think somebody does live there, and they say like. Yeah, like obviously trying to get people not to just turn up, but
but it's back now for another Christmas special, so they'll be plastered.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that why it was cancelled? Is that why the race was cancelled?
I don't know, not sure.
It might have been actually because they've just finished filming down there as well. I think.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. So maybe it was But yeah, hopefully it's back. But yeah, I'll come back to Porthcawl next summer.
All right, deal. I'll race it.
Yeah. I'll race it.
I'll have to tell like Clara and that. I'll be like, none of you are allowed to come.
Yeah.
She did as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
and you've been spectating as well. Ben had a good run up in podium last weekend.
Yeah, it's good. Like it's obviously good to see him back running. But yeah, he did podium. Last weekend, and then got Liverpool coming up. So yeah, it's just nice to see him back running. And I think like, especially after you run a marathon, because it's I was like, I can just do what I want now for a bit. So it was nice to be able to spectate his next couple of races. Because I felt bad because obviously like when he was injured, he came to all of mine, like was at all my training sessions and stuff like that because he wasn't able to do it himself. And then, but when you're in training, when I was in prep for New York, I was like, well, I need to focus on this. I can't come and watch and support and stuff. So it's nice for the next month for me to be able to put some focus into him.
Get back and give him some support.
So no, it's good.
Good. We need to apologise to Podium as well because they were in our Nikki, we were talking about Podium on this week's episode because Matt Varane ran a sub 15 and Nikki said the coverage was shit, which it was this compared to what they normally do.
I'm not going to lie, it's usually really good. They usually have a bike, in front and
but we did speak to them and they said
back and forth. It was rubbish.
But we did have a little bit of an exchange and they said more money went into the prize money this year, so less was spent on kind of that. So because it was a 10-year birthday. More money went into the prize money and less onto production. So Podium, we are still cool. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he's still a great organisation.
It is a great. I've ran the cross country, but I've never actually ran a podium like 5K event. So I do need to do that. I keep saying to Chris, I was like, I do need to do one of your events. Like I haven't actually done it yet, but yeah, maybe I can run one in the new year.
Yeah, we went about. You ran Boot Park. Well, you ran half of Boot Park this year, Nick.
Yeah,
didn't
the
you?
Home Nations one in Cardiff's good. Boot Park, that's a good one. It's just 3 laps where like Clara and I train in the Boot Park. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good people come to that one. But yeah, they are good races all over. Like the boys go to all of them. Don't they? John, Matt, Varan, like say you have some great field there.
I think it's good. I think they're doing something different. To what's like out there.
Yeah, they are. Definitely.
It is.
So I think it's like, even if things aren't like, they try different things. I quite like it when races and events try different things.
Yeah.
Within reason. I don't want people like something ridiculous, but like, yeah, I think it's quite good. Like I do want to run one of their races. I probably more like think I might try and see if I can speak to him about putting maybe a 10K on or something.
Yeah, get them to do a bigger.
5K is a bit like, I'm like, oh god.
Full send. Happy days. Right, before you go, Lil, we need a review of your mug. We did send you a mug. How was the mug being? Is it microwave proof?
Yep, it is microwave proof. It's safe to go in the microwave. Ben actually stole it the other day to use. I did tell him he could get his own, but yeah, no, the mug's good. It's microwave safe.
Yeah, great Christmas present.
Yeah, it was a good. Yeah, I might wrap it up for Ben.
Yeah, not everyone.
I know where you can get them. I can send you the link. It's fine. Right.
Yeah. Can you give a Christmas present that you've received for free?
Yeah, of course you can. Maybe next year, isn't it?
Regifted.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good stock. It's a good stocking filler.
It is.
Yeah, definitely.
It's good.
Right.
Yeah.
It is Friday night. Thank you so much for giving us a bit of time to recap New York. Been a pleasure. Yeah, enjoy ripping out the kitchen, Lil, and hopefully
they're refitting it tomorrow.
Yeah. Hopefully we see you down with call next summer, but if not, we'll keep in touch anyway.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lily.
Happy next.
Start again. Cheers.